Okay, so now we'll get into the intro solo. And, you know, this is some really nice guitar playing here. David Gilmour is a really good guitar player. Like, his phrasing is so nice. He'll come up with licks, and then he'll come up on variations of those licks. And he's just a really, really thoughtful guitar player, you know. Always really enjoy learning his stuff. And even though it may not be technically really hard to do, like speedy stuff, you know, his stuff is always hard to learn because the phrases he comes up with are very similar to each other. They're like variations on a theme, you know, and you have to really learn each phrase. Otherwise, you know, you get them all confused, right? Anyway, so just before I get going here, I know a lot of people might think, you know, David Gilmour must have hands of steel because he's making these crazy bends on an acoustic, but the deal is, you know, he's put on lighter strings to play this song, and I think live he's got to be using a guitar that's just strung so he can play these leads. Okay, so what I did is I took off my G string, which is normally 23 wound, and then my B string, well, usually my E is a 12, so I guess the B string is probably 15 or so, not really sure. But I use HD light gauge elixir. Anyway, so I just took off the 23 wound G string, put like an 18 on there, and then I put on a lighter B string because those are the two strings you're going to bend, right? And by doing that, you know, you can bend those strings like no problem at all. And if you watch that live video of him playing with that guy with the 12 string, I mentioned that in my other video on the rhythm stuff. When he gets into the solo section, if you look at his guitar, you can see that G string is unwound, okay? So anyway, that's kind of the key to doing this. If you're going to try and do this intro solo on a regular acoustic guitar, light gauge, extra light, whatever, you're gonna have one heck of a time bending that G string, okay? So anyways, okay, let's get into the solo. So we're gonna start like this. It's in the key of G, and we're gonna go, we're just gonna slide up from G2, and we're gonna try and go chromatically, right? Landing on B3. And then we go B5. Right? And then we're going to pull off from G4 to G2 to open. And I use my little finger. I like pulling off with my little finger better there. And we're going to hit the open D string. And with that G string ringing, right? And, you know, you can pull off your third finger if you want. And then we're just going to add this. Just slide up on A2 to D open. Okay, so far slowly. Okay, now we get into this sliding lick here. And I don't know if I've ever seen this lick taught properly. And even in that live video that I just mentioned, he doesn't play it like he did on the recorded version. And, you know, that's kind of a given with most of these classic rock guys, right? They never play the same thing twice. You know, it's close, but it's never exactly the same. But like I always say, if you're wanting to learn the song, you want to play it exactly like they did on the record, right? So what we're going to do there is we're going to start with, we're going to slide up the B and the E string on the 5th fret. And we're going to slide it back down to the 3rd fret. Like that, right? So it's a slide on the way up, slide on the way down. And the next one is going to be G4 and B5. And with the 3rd finger on the B string and the 1st finger on the G string. So, and then we're going to go. So we're going to slide into that kind of from 2 frets below. Okay, so same slides exactly. And then we're going to pull that off. pull them both off, right? Okay, so far we've got, and then we're going to come back up here, right? And then we're going to pull this off again. And we're going to end up on D5 and G4. So we've got, okay, it's, and, right? And then we end there. Okay, one more time real slow, because this is kind of the money lick of that solo, I think. You know, if you don't get this right, the rest of it just won't sound good. One more time. Okay, now the next lick is this. So we're going back to the beginning. We're going to land there. Right? So back to the G string and then B5. And then we're going to do a half step bend, like a pre-bend, and a pull off. Back to the G string, ending up on G2. Okay, so slowly. All right, and then we're going to do this. Okay, so that's just a push up on G4. It's a full step bend, and then to B3. And that's kind of a real feel lick, you know. You'll have to do that a bunch of times before you get the feeling of it. Okay, so let's do the whole thing so far. Okay, now we're going to do that again, but it's a little bit different. Okay, so the beginning's the same, but then we're going to go, right? Going to push that up. It's not a pre-bend here. Right? Pull off. Down to the A note on G2. And then we just ended up. And like I said, if you're just trying to do this on your regular gauge strings, it's going to be really, well, going to be almost impossible, right? So you're going to have to do things like gonna have to slide those notes in, because bending that is going to be very tough. And that's the solo. Okay, so let's just do that whole thing really slow. Okay, so okay, and that's it. All right, hope you get something out of this, and I hope you watch the other lesson that I did on the rhythm as well. Okay, all right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time.